The video I'm looking at today is I Think It's a Skunk Ape, Please Help by Josh Highcliffe. Now it was uploaded to YouTube October 28th, 2013, and I've always liked this one. There's a few things about it when you slow it down and you zoom in that really make it pop. Anyways, the story behind it is he was out hunting hogs or whatnot in Mississippi, and he came across this thing beaten apart in an old cypress tree. The first part of the video I'm going to show here is just the original video, but I've increased the audio quite a bit, just to see if you can hear anything. Now the second part of the video, I've zoomed it in and stabilized a little bit, so you can hopefully see a little bit more detail. There's quite a bit going on here, but nothing here strikes me as being a person sitting down doing a hoax. And I'll get into it in a few minutes. Now right here, if you watch closely, you can see what appears to be tool use. And it really strikes me that this is kind of the movements that a monkey would make, or something primitive. In this part, you can see him really wrenching on the tree. That would take quite a bit of muscle to pull this tree apart. You can hear the wood that's still good ripping apart. And I'm not a small guy, but I can tell you right now that that would take quite a bit of muscle to do. This is another part I'm going to talk about in a minute. I've got a nice piece there where I slow it down a bit. This is another part that I find really interesting as well, because he picks up a small piece of wood and you can show him putting it to his face. And it appears that he's licking something off it, which would indicate insects or grubs or whatnot. It's pretty interesting, and I don't think a person playing around would actually do this. Now we get to the part of the video where I've slowed down some pieces, stabilized, zoomed in, all that good stuff. And I'll give you a bit of detail about why I think this one is plausible. So this first part doesn't show much. until it gets to this little piece right here. If you look closely, where I've zoomed in and slowed down here, you can see him tapping the side of the tree with a branch. I just found that kind of interesting, because if you're pretending to do something, that makes no sense, especially if you're doing it quietly. If that was a hoax, you would think that they'd be beating on that tree for all it's worth, so you'd be able to hear it across the clearing. Now this part's interesting, because you can see the amount of strength that he's using to really wrench on the tree, and I've slowed it down for you to see. Now this is coming up to one of my favorite parts, and it's kind of strange, but if you think about it, if you're sitting there in an expensive monkey costume or Bigfoot costume trying to do a hoax, why would you throw a huge branch into the water right beside you and have it splash all over you and take the risk of damaging the suit? So this is just some footage. It's not really doing anything. It's picking out the tree, digging, gobbling down whatever it's finding in there, having a good snack. Nothing like a good old bug for lunch. You can see he's turfing stuff off into the water there beside him without a care in the world. Now it's going to come up to another part in just a minute here. He stands, he wrenches at it a little more, and he digs. Now, this is what I find interesting. If you take a close look, you can actually see the hands. You can see when he lifts his hand up above his head to start grabbing into the tree that the fur on the body actually extends over to the back of the hands like a real monkey. Don't think somebody in a costume would have that effect, especially with the light colored fingers. That to me screams great ape, monkey, Bigfoot, whatever have you. Here's the part that I mentioned earlier. It's digging into the tree and it's hauling out little pieces of wood and it's looking at them, and it appears to be putting it up to its face. It's like it's a piece of watermelon and it appears to be eating out of it. If they're pretending to do this, then they're really good, because that's an effect that I would not expect from a hoax. Now we get our character who gets up and decides to run, and I've actually slowed this down a little bit on part of it, because it appears that he tries to take a look back to see if it's still there. We don't see anything, but you can tell by the pants he's wearing that the description of the video does fit. As he's running, I've slowed it down here at the end. You can see where there's like tank ruts from a big construction vehicle, which is probably how he accessed the area. This video's been on my radar for a long time. I mean, the guy that taped it, he doesn't have any other videos up. This is the only one. And he's not asking for any money, for any handouts, for any GoFundMes. Nothing of the sort. I mean, all he did was upload the video and say, hey, this is what I saw. This is where it happened. And this is what I was doing. And that's it. Usually with a lot of these hoaxers, they have repeated video uploads of finding feet and hearing screams and finding fur and seeing Bigfoot and shadows and encounter after encounter. All this guy has is this one piece of footage for 2 minutes and 16 seconds. To me, this is one of the more believable pieces out there. I mean, it's 7 years old now, but to me it's aged really, really well. Nothing about it screams hoax, but is it somebody's pet monkey that ran out, or something from a circus? Or it really could be a Sasquatch or a skunk ape. I can't say, but that's just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be doing more in the future, so let me know if you guys have any other ones you want me to do. Later!